Hey guys, Carl from Purple Moose Plays. Today I'm taking a look at Small Islands from designers Alexis Allard and Aurelie Guarino and publisher Lucky Duck Games. This is a tile-laying game a la Carcassonne in which you're sort of building out this giant map of islands, creating the islands to meet the different sort of resource goals printed on mission cards to get a variety of different scoring rewards based on the islands that you've created. Disclaimer, I was given a copy of this game from Lucky Duck for this video. But as always, I will do my best to give you my own honest opinion on the game. With all that said, let's head down to the table to see how the solo mode in this one plays, and then I'll meet you back up here to let you know what I think. To set up a solo game of Small Island, begin by placing out the 4 double-sided landscape tiles in any orientation that you'd like, and again, in any side of the tile that you'd like as well. To make the most efficient space or usage of my space, I've laid them out in a long strip like this just to give me more space above and below. And as I play, I may end up shuffling things or sliding things around on the screen. But to continue setting up, I'm going to take the remaining landscape tiles, shuffling those up and just placing them out in a series of stacks on the screen. Next, placing out the tokens needed for the game. These are the discovery tokens that have some kind of treasure on one side with a compass on the other. These will be placed all compass side down, shuffling them up, and then just setting out a supply on the table. Next, the prestige tokens. This is what we're going to be using to keep track of score. I'm going to sort those by point value and start a supply of those on the table as well. And you'll see those now are split up as 1s, 5s, 10s, and 20s, like so. Now the rest of the setup generally fills in here, but again, I want to leave as much open space as possible to extend this tile so I don't have to zoom very far out. So I'm going to split up the 2 rows of things that should be here, putting one row down this side of the screen and the other row down this side of the screen. And the first thing I'm going to be doing is basically putting out our landscape tile sort of supply or draw area. And to do that, I'm going to start by placing out this navigation tile. And I'll just stick that here off on the side like this. And then below that tile, I will be taking 3 of these landscape tiles, placing them just like that in a column below. And those are sort of going to be the 3 available drafting tiles. And actually, let me just slide those in a little bit further on screen, like that. Next, down the other side of the screen, I'm going to be placing out the 4 ship tiles. In the solo mode, I'll be playing 1 ship of my color, which of course must be purple, and then 3 other tiles placed with their black or gray sides showing. The other sides of these are all the other 3 player colors, but since I'm playing against the AI, I will again show the 3 gray sides and my ship with the purple side straight up or face up, and I'll place those over here on the side of the screen. Next, I need to set up the cards for the game. If I was playing in the sort of standard game mode, I would be playing with these objective cards that show some kind of mission on the left side and a reward on the right side. But I'm actually, for this playthrough, going to be playing with the advanced mode. And basically all that does is it takes this and splits it into 2 different kinds of cards. So you'll see we have these mission cards like this, which represent the left side of that card, and reward cards like this that represent sort of the right side of this card. So instead of using this single card, I'll be using pairs of cards, which means that there's going to be a little bit more variability about how these things can connect, and it makes for a little bit more dynamic kind of gameplay. So taking each of these decks of cards, giving them a shuffle, and placing them out. And I'll just split them on the 2 sides of the screen just because there's space, and symmetry is nice to some extent. So put those there and put those there. And now finally, to set up our player area as well as the AI's player area. For me, I'm going to start by drawing 2 starting landscape tiles. So I'll take 2 of these into my hand. And for right now, I'll just set those down at the bottom of the screen. In addition, I'm going to take 1 each of these 2 cards. I'll explain what that means in just a minute. And I'll set those down here as well, like that. And in addition to that, I do need all of the pieces of my player color, which means I will take these 8 clan houses in purple, except that at the start of the game, I only start with 4 of those clan houses. So 4 of those I'm going to just set up here as a supply, and the other 4 of those I'll put down here in the corner as my available clan houses. And that's just there to show that on any given round, I won't be able to use more than 4 of them. They will refill back to 4 at the start of every new round, but I'll explain that as we get into things. In addition, I have these 4 tokens, bonus tokens that look like this, and these are all double-sided, and you'll see why in just a minute. But here I've got these 2 fruit, these 2 flowers, and on the other side I've got a leaf, an anchor, another anchor, and another leaf. So basically, looking at all of the sides, I've got 2 fruit, 2 flowers, 2 leaves, and 2 anchors to be used at some point during the game, and I'll explain again how all of that works later on in gameplay. Then setting up for the AI player, known as Alexis in this game, I first need to choose the sort of behavior kind of card, or also the difficulty level. And you'll see the difficulty levels here are marked in the corner by stars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I have beaten 1 and 2, and I've also beaten number 4. I would challenge 3, except 3 does something weird to the game that sort of pushes to extend the length of the game and then really pushes you hard to score lots of points. And I don't want to throw anything that weird into this playthrough. So I'm going to take 5. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat it because it's going to be very difficult, but level 5 goes back to a very balanced style of gameplay, and you'll see what that means later as I get into the actual play of the game. But this is going to sort of determine how we set up the AI player. So I'm going to set that down right here. And then let me go ahead and explain how we set up. Setting the rest of those cards off to the side of the screen. So the AI deck is split up in 2 different types of tiles. So you can see based on the icon down here in the bottom corner, these green ones are the Explore cards that are basically going to push the AI to explore more areas of the map. And these are the Land cards, which you'll see later on is how we're going to sort of trigger end rounds. And this is going to determine when the AI player would take that land action. And that'll make more sense as we get into gameplay. But for this level 5 AI opponent, we're going to need to take 6 Explore and 6 Land cards at random, shuffling those together to make a deck. And we'll place that shuffled deck down here. And I'm actually going to slide everything over just a little bit so I have space for the AI's clan houses as well. The AI does not start with any of the bonus tokens. The AI does not start with any cards, and the AI does not start with any tiles. But they will start with all 8 of their clan houses available to them. And with that, we are all set up for the game. So a solo game of Small Islands is going to play out over an indeterminate number of rounds, and each round will consist of 3 phases. The first phase is the preparation phase. And in the first phase, this preparation phase, I'm going to begin by drawing 6 random tiles from these stacks. So I'll just do 2 from each stack. Shuffling those together just to make sure they're nice and randomized. And those 6 tiles will get placed over here on the navigation tile. And those are sort of going to be a timer for the round, and you'll see why I say sort of in just a minute. But at the same time, I'm going to draw 2 more of the mission cards, as well as 2 more of the reward cards. And then from the cards available to me, meaning the 2 I've just drawn and the 2 I already have, I'm going to be selecting 2 missions and 2 rewards. One of the missions and one of the rewards that I'm selecting will be what I'm working for during this round as far as scoring is concerned. The other mission and reward card that I choose, I'm basically holding on to so that I could potentially use it in the next round because it would become one of the new 3 cards to select from. The third card that I don't select from immediately gets discarded and will get shuffled back in for the next round when we make this decision again. But before I can explain how I'm going to make that decision, let me explain how the rest of the game works. In the next phase of the round, the exploration phase, this is where most of the game is going to take place. On a turn, I have the option to either explore or land. But I can only choose to land if all 6 of these tiles have already been removed from the navigation tile. Otherwise, on my turn, I must explore. And explore means I'm going to select one of these 3 tiles, adding it to my hand, and then from the 3 tiles I have in my hand, I'll place one out on the board. extending the map. And the way that that works is it must always match an edge with something that's already on the table, and the edge that's touching any other tiles must match all of the land and water features on those tiles that are touching. After taking a tile and placing a tile, I'll then replace that tile from this stack. If this stack is no longer here, I'll instead replace from our general supply. But the reason that matters is, again, once this has been removed, or all of these tiles have been placed out, I will then have the option to, instead of exploring, taking a tile and placing a tile, to instead land, selecting a ship to be adding into the map. And let me explain now why I will do both of those things. When I'm exploring, I'm looking to build out lands. Why? Well, on many of the tiles, you're going to see a variety of different things. You're going to see these sort of resource types, the fruit, the flowers and leaves, and then you're going to see these temples as well. In addition, you'll also see these empty spaces. These are going to be the locations that we can place our clan houses down later for scoring purposes. And then also in the water, you will see these anchor spaces as well. Again, all of those things printed on those island parts are going to be what triggers scoring. But the way that scoring is triggered is going to depend on the mission and the reward cards that I've chosen for that round. So the mission is going to basically tell me what I need to have on any given island in order for me to place a clan house on that island to trigger scoring for that island. So the three cards I have right now are, this one says in order to score an island, I must have a number of flowers equal to the number of fruit or leaves on a given island. This one says I need to have 1 temple and 2 flowers on an island. This one says I need to have 1 temple and 2 leaves on an island. And if I succeed in building an island that matches whichever of these cards I choose, at the end of the round, I can place out one of my clan houses on any island that has an available space on it that matches the condition I've selected. And if that's true about multiple islands, I can place out multiple clan houses on all of those islands if I choose to do so. Except that each island can only ever hold 1 clan house of each of our colors. So we can both place on an island 1 time only. And it's worth mentioning that this map is going to continue growing throughout the game, so it might be that even though I can score an island at any given point, I might choose not to so I can score it later on in the game for something that's going to score more points than the current thing. And then when I select an island to score by placing a clan house on it, I'm going to be scoring based on whichever reward card I've selected for that round. So in this case, this says that I will select or take a number of discovery tokens per the number of temples on the island I'm scoring, and I will get to keep one of those tokens. So I'm only keeping 1 token per island, but the number that I'm taking a look at and choosing from is the number of temples on the island I'm scoring. This one says that I would score 1 point per temple on the island and 1 point per flower on the island. And this one, 1 point per temple and 1 point per fruit on the island. It's also worth pointing out that those bonus tiles or bonus tokens that I showed you at the beginning of setup are tokens that on any given turn I can place out 1 anywhere on the map that I would like to, with the sort of rule that any resource token that I place out must cover another resource on the island. So for example, I could place this fruit over the flower there, making this now a fruit instead of a flower. But on the other side of 2 of them are anchors. These anchors are going to connect to how the ships are scoring, and an anchor I could place in any sort of coastal area body of water with the rule that there can ever only be 2 anchors on any given tile at any given time. So why do I want to do that? Because the other half of the game is the ships. Remembering, as soon as these tiles have been emptied, and the navigation tile is visible, instead of choosing an explore action, I can instead choose a ship action or a land action. And the way I do that is I select whichever ship I'd like to place out, placing it out following tile laying rules, so it will always have to be adjacent to an a open body of water. And that ship will stay there until the end of the game. And at the very end of the game, each ship will score 1 point per anchor in the 8 spaces surrounding that ship. So I want to sort of place this out and build around it in such a way that it scores the most points it possibly can at the end of the game. The other thing the ship does is, as soon as a ship is placed out onto the board for that round immediately ends, and we go into the third and final phase of the round, which is the reward or scoring phase. And during that scoring phase is when we're going to look at these cards, placing out clan houses that match the missions to score with whatever it shows on the scoring cards. And the game is going to end when either all 4 ships have been placed out onto the board. I don't have enough tiles here to refresh this to 6 at the start of a game, or start of a round. Or finally, if I've emptied all the tiles here and I'm placing more out and this is completely emptied, meaning I cannot place out any more tiles, but I'm still not able to place any of these because there are no open water spaces on the edge of the board, the game would still end, and in that case, we'd still go instantly to a reward phase before finishing the game. And at the end of the game, we're going to total up all of the prestige points, which are the points we're earning every round based on these cards, plus all of the points from our discovery tokens, plus 1 point per anchor around our ship. And in the AI's case, they're actually going to have all 3 ships, but a lot of the time I'll be placing them out, so I need to do my best to place them and build around them in such a way that there are very few anchors around them so the AI doesn't score points whenever possible. But otherwise, the AI doesn't have any cards, doesn't have any scoring goals, except that on their card here, it says that in addition to the ship scoring that I just explained, the level 5 AI will score 55 points plus 1 point per clan house that they place out. And the way that works is, on their turn, the AI will turn over their card, which is going to tell them which tile to draft and where to place it. And the tiles will always be placed somehow in relation to the tile that I most recently placed on the map. And the cards from the AI will either be explore or land. At the beginning of the round, both of those will work in the same way because we cannot play a land action until this stack is emptied. But once this stack has emptied, if the AI plays a land card, they will instead select a ship to place out on the board. But that still gets placed following that same rule that's in relation to where I placed my tile. And whenever Alexis or the AI places out a ship, they will always place out a gray ship. So if my purple ship is the only one remaining at that point, they would actually flip over my purple ship and turn it into a 4th gray ship, so I cannot allow that to happen. Then finally, during that reward phase, when I'm placing out clan houses onto islands, the AI will then simply flip over 1 more card, and that card will give some kind of condition that explains which islands the AI can place their clan houses on. But again, you'll see all of that in a little bit more detail as soon as I get into gameplay and you see the AI take their first turn. So with that, let me take a look at my cards and decide which card I'll keep for this round and which card I'm holding on to, and then which card gets returned to the discard pile. Looking out here, I see one island that has a temple and a fruit. I see an island over here that has temple, flower, fruit, and leaf. Everything there. Flowers equal to either fruit and leaves. That's already happening on this island. Not here unless I place a flower. This one, temples with 2 flowers, is happening almost here and not there. Same thing, temple with 2 leaves is almost here and not there. I think I want to take this flower equal to things, because this is already happening and this could be happening. And the reason I say that is, these discovery tokens could be worth a lot. And we're already starting with 2 islands that have temples on them, so I could potentially pick up at least 2 discovery tokens this turn. So I'm going to use this one and this one as my current objective. And I'll just sit that right there so it stays on screen. Then, if I'm focused on flowers and something else, let's keep this flower one just in case. And again, let's keep this flower one just in case. Because those will work together nicely, because If I need a temple and 2 flowers to score the island, then I'm automatically getting 1 temple and 2 flowers, or 3 points for that scoring. Means this one gets discarded here, this one gets discarded here, and we're ready to go ahead and get started to play. So I'd like to add more temples to things. I want to make sure that if I add any given resource to an island, I add the same amount of flowers or similar. And I think what that means is I'm going to start by taking this one, and I'll actually place that one out right away here, because now I have the same number of flowers and fruit on this island, and I've added a second temple, which will let me have one more option for discovery tokens. Flipping that over, the AI takes their turn, and now I can show you what their card looks like. So you'll see first off that this is a land card, but they cannot land yet because we still have tiles left on our navigation stack. So they're going to skip the land action and instead take this explore action, which says they're focused on the leftmost tile. Now, I did spin everything to put it on the screen, so this is basically the left is going to be the topmost tile, the one closest to the navigation stack. So we'll use top, middle, bottom as left, middle, right, like that. And then here it shows how they're placing. So this green tile is the one that I just placed. So they're going to try and place above my tile first. And if they can't do that, they'll go to the right. And if they can't do that, they'll go to the bottom. And whatever direction they're aiming in, they're going to try and place as close to my tile as possible. Means they're going to again take this tile, and they're trying to place it above the tile I just placed, which is this one right here. So they're going to place here, and it does fit there like that. So they're doing that just like that. Replacing the tile, my turn. Flowers and orange is still okay here. Flowers and orange is okay there. I could actually start another island and potentially place out 3 clan houses this time. Yeah, let's do that. Because I have flowers here, and there's a temple here, and if flower and orange is the same and there's a temple, then I can do that another time. So I'm going to take that and start a new island this way. Like that. Replacing this. AI takes their turn again, flipping over again. This is a land, but they can't. They're taking the third tile, which in our case is the bottom tile. And they're trying to place below where I just played. I played there, so they're trying to place here. And sure enough, they can, which completes that island, which looks good to me. And I see lots of anchors coming here, so I might start trying to place a ship over here somewhere. Replacing that. Then, knowing what I have coming up, I've got flower-based stuff, so I could get flowers here if I wanted to. I still need to add flowers there, but I also might focus on anchors now, so I can start padding out this area with anchors if possible. So I'm going to take this one and play it up here like this. No, I don't need that yet. That was silly. That's for this part. I want to play this up there like that, because now I have a flower and a fruit 1/1, which does satisfy this goal, which means I can place out there if I want to. Okay, good. That. AI takes their third turn, which says they're taking, this is an explore, means they couldn't land even if it was possible. Taking the first one, which is that big green one, trying to place it below where I did. They can't, because that will never match. Trying to place it this direction, they can't. Trying to place it above, still can't. So in the case that the AI can't place their tile at all, the tile is simply removed from the game, and the AI will score 1 point. So they're going to keep 1 point there for endgame scoring. Replacing that, and now we're at the point where I can land a ship. If I don't land a ship, and the AI draws a land card, they will instead land their ship. If I do land a ship, that ends the round immediately. And I'm kind of interested in putting my ship there, because that's already 3 anchors. And if I put my ship there and they choose either of those, it has to go next to my ship. Oh no, they won't take a turn. That'll end immediately, which means those will still be there next turn, and I go first next turn. So I'm going to do that. I'm ending the round landing there. Like that, we go into scoring. So again, my mission is flowers equal to orange or green, which this island, this island, and this island all do. And it may be crazy to place out so many clan houses at the beginning like this, but I'm going to do it anyway. So I'm going to place one there. I'm going to place one there. And it doesn't matter where on the island you place, it just has to be on the island. So it's just how many clan houses can be placed on any given island. And I'll place one right there. This has 1 temple, so I get to take one of these, and it's a 6 point. This is done. This one has 2 temples, so I get to take 2 and select 1, which is a 6 and a 6, so I guess I'm taking a 6. And that means we shuffle those back in again. And I'll just split those into 2 random stacks again, and then for this last island there's 1 temple, so I just get to take one of those, which is a 5. Like that. Then AI flips their card, and this time now we're looking down here at the bottom right corner. They're looking for any island that has 2 leaves. They will place one of their huts. This island does have 2 leaves, so they place one there. This one does not and never will. This one does not. This one has 1, so that's the end of their turn. We reset for the next round. The AI is going to reshuffle all of their cards. These cards get discarded, and these all get reshuffled together. And then I take clan houses to bring my total back up to 4, like that. All right, then to set up for the next round, again, taking 6 of these tiles, 2, 4, 6. Shuffling them up just because. Like that. Again, drawing 2 of these here, and 2 of these here. Adding in the one that we already have. Ooh, look, more discovery tokens, but let's try something different this time, I think. So we've got a temple and 2 flowers. This one means more flowers than fruit. This means fruit equal to flowers or leaves. This one here means 1 point for 1 resource of my choice on island, plus 1 per every 2 anchors. Here's the one we saw before where I get the discovery tokens for temples. And here, 1 point for temple, 1 point for flower. Right now, I don't see anything. The only island I'm already building is this right here. But there's only a leaf and no anchors. Having more flowers than fruit is not so likely with the stuff I see here. And I see double anchors here, but I wanted to put that around my boat over here. But yeah, I think I'm going to focus on the double anchor. And that's fruit, and that's fruit. So I'm going to take the one that's fruit equal to something else. Then keeping for the next round, I think I'm going to stick with the one I kept last time and keep it again. Only this time, yeah, let's score for a big island with flowers on it. So those go away. This is what I'm scoring currently. Make sure that's on the screen for you. Like that. And we get started with me again. And I am going to take that and I am absolutely going to place it there like that. All right, then AI takes their turn flipping over. Exploring the first tile, which I haven't placed yet, is this one. Placing below where I did. So they're going to place down here, which is great because that also has an anchor on it. And I get to choose which direction I want to rotate that. So let's turn that way, like that. Just gives me more flexibility over here. Replacing that tile. My turn. I don't want to connect those two islands because that means I can't place out there anymore. If I take this one and play, I'm off the screen, play this one over here like that, puts another anchor next to my ship, and now makes orange equal to green, which will score that. But now I want to load in a bunch of something. I could load in a bunch of flowers, because then I don't have to keep things even anymore. But that's going to get tricky. I might just try and load in a bunch of orange and greens to keep things balanced. And I can always use one of my bonus tokens if I need to fix any problems. AI goes next, turning this back over, whoops, like that. AI is trying to land, they can't because there are still tiles here, so they're taking the last tile and placing it below where I placed, which means there, which is not great because there's no anchors, but it's not the end of the world. Flipping over. All right, there's an anchor with lots of orange stuff. Yeah, I think I'm going to take that and I'm going to place it right there like this. Because I'm not worried about that connecting because that requires a very specific tile and that's not it. So the AI definitely can't ruin that. They are going to try and land, they can't. Taking the first one, trying to place above mine, which does kind of bother me. Because now there's no way for me to place in there. And I can't rotate that, it won't fit. Grr. I can still score there if I work a little bit at it. Let's see what's happening. There's a temple. No anchors. Well, temple's not a bad idea. I could build off of this, but I'd love to have an anchor there. Actually, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this one, aiming for this stuff next time, placing that down here like that. That way it doesn't mess up my ship. He's gonna play off of this somehow, which his ship can't do right now. And if they can't place a ship, then they're going to explore. So I've basically forced them into an explore action right now. Replacing from here now because we're empty. He plays, it's explore anyway, taking the bottom one, placing up. I placed here, he's placing up there. It can't, there's no way up there to place. That's not true. That just ruined everything. Hold on. Yeah. He's going to place there, which really stinks because now I can't anymore because he just connected to my old one. Well played, Alexis. So this comes out, and I'm scoring nothing right now. So I'm going to hope to try and score off of this, I guess. Means I'm going to place that there. Wait, hold on. First, I'm taking this tile, and I'm placing that there. Flipping that. Alexis flips. It is land. All right, so this triggers the end. They're trying to place to the right of me, which they can do. They put a boat there, which was a little bit of a mistake because now they're scoring these two and this one. That triggers the end. So Alexis is placing first. Placing on islands again with 2 leaves. This has 1 leaf. This now has 2 leaves, so they're going to place there like that. My turn, I need an island that has orange equal to something else, which this was going to be awesome, but not anymore. This orange is equal to something else, and I do have 2 anchors, so I would score 2 points for that island, but I know that I can do something next turn that might be worth more, so I'm actually not going to place out anything. I'm not going to score this round. So we reset for the round. 6 tiles again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, giving those a shuffle. Placing there like that. Then again, drawing 2 of these, plus the one I already have. Drawing 2 of these, plus the one I already had. Then, orange more than green, green more than pink, or fruit more than leaves, leaves more than flowers, or temple and 2 pinks. I think I want the temple and 2 pinks for this turn. Next turn I don't really care. Let's see, this has green, so we'll stick with that for next turn. Then, I don't expect that I'm going to be able to get anything big. So I'm going to take that one again. So that goes away, that goes away. I'm sticking with, whoops, that goes away. Sorry, what am I doing? Huh? What did I do? Yes, I took this one, that goes away. I take this one, stick that over here somewhere for now just to get it out of the way. That goes away. And I kept, no, I keep, which one of those am I keeping? Sorry. I think probably this requires less stuff for scoring. So let's keep that, return that. I go first. I want this so they don't. Then I'm in the way. I'm going to place this over here. Because then if they place a temple, I've got 2 flowers and a temple there. Like that. They are taking the 3rd tile, placing down. They can't. So they're trying to place on this side. They also can't. So they're trying to place up, which they can do just like that. Replacing, my turn. Ooh, there's another temple. But that's a temple and a flower, which would be great on a different island. So I'm actually going to place this over here with the hopes that they connect up top. Because they can't place here, they can't place here, they can't place here, so they would place there if it's an option, if they take that one. Ooh, there's another temple and a flower. This is great. Okay. They take the 3rd, placing to this way they can't. Placing up, they certainly can. That's great for me. Replacing. Whew, that's great too. All right. Then I need to add a flower here. And I'll do that like this. They are going to take the first one, that's not good, placing here, which they can do. That's not great. My turn. Ooh, temple and flower somewhere else. Let's expand. I don't care where. Let's go here. No. I want a location where they're not going to score stuff. Let's go there. This flips. They turn over. Is the bottommost to the right, which does not work. Down can work like that. Somehow I don't have enough tiles. I wasn't paying attention. I messed up. Yeah. I forgot to take a tile somewhere. Hold on. Let me pause and figure it out. I'll be right back. All right, so I went back and had a look. And of course, 2 turns ago, I forgot to draw a tile. And there's no real way for me to go back and undo all the things that I did. So I'm going to take the 1 tile that's still there from when I had a turn. I will replace 2 tiles. Anyway, they had an explorer, not a land, so they would have done the same thing, just potentially with a different tile. And I'll play like that from there. So now it's my turn again. And I've got potential island here. Missing a temple there. I have a temple here. So this is temple and flower already. This needs an extra flower. Huh. I don't know why I didn't put a temple there yet. That was a mistake. But anyway, this needs a flower, this needs a flower. So I will take one with a flower. I don't want to put any anchors near him. But also, if I take a thing now, they're going to place their thing. So instead, I'm going to place their ship for them up here where it's not having any anchors adjacent to it. Calling that the end of the round, but wait a minute. If I do that, the only island I can score on is this, but that's okay. Yeah, let's do that. I'm going to stop there. Means next turn I got to place out lots of houses if possible. I placed there, which has 1, 2, 3. So I get to take 3 of these, picking one. I got a 5, and a 6, so I'll take the 6. Those get shuffled back in. Like that. They flip their card, which is 2 flowers. So they're definitely 2 flowers here. Not there, not there. Yes, here. There's nothing to place there. Anyway, they're done. Resetting again. Placing out 6 tiles for our last setup of the game. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Shuffling those up. I'm doing not so great. I gotta start scoring a bunch. Taking 2 of these, plus the one I've got already. And then again, 2 of these. Ooh, 6 points, just 6 points. 6 points per island. And I could have, replacing this, 4 of them. Leaves more than flowers. Fruit the same as flowers or leaves. Fruit more than leaves. So I need to find out, what do we got? More than flowers is never going to happen. I think that and 6 might be the answer. And this time I'm not saving anything because this will be the last round, so it's not going to matter anyway. So I am trying to score islands that has orange equal to some resource, scoring 6 points. I want lots of small islands. And I want lots of anchors. All right, well, I'm going to start first by taking that and placing it there so that I get 2 more anchors next to my ship, for sure. Replacing. AI goes. First one, placing down. Down from there does work. And that's a shame because that's orange does not have the same as green, but it could be if I cover one. Replacing that. Placing this up here is good for me because orange and pink are the same and there's a spot there for me. His turn. Takes the first tile, placing to the right. Can't place, can't place. That's awesome because he can place below. No, he can't because that doesn't work and that doesn't work. But then to the left works perfectly. It means I got to readjust some stuff. I move these over here like that. Now we are left to right anyway because this can get placed there, which is also great for me because orange and pink with a space to place. Turning over another tile. My turn. That's 1, that's 2. That could be 3. So I want 1 more island. This one. That's already 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Amazing. Then let me take that so he doesn't accidentally give himself anchor somewhere. I'm placing this one here because doing that lets me have 2 fruit, 2 leaves placement, and I'm going to place out my bonus anchor on a space around here that doesn't have 2. So right there I place an anchor. Replacing there. He plays Trying to land, he can't. He'll take this tile placing above where I just placed, which is all the way up here at the top. Can't do. No, can't do. Then placing to the right of where I just placed. Also cannot do. Means below, which does work. Like that. But now we've got too many orange. Which means, but what's this? Orange, pink, green, that's 1. Orange and green, that matches, that's 2. Orange and pink, that matches. Orange and pink, that matches. Now, I can take the turn right now to place out this boat. It means I won't have a turn to place out my last anchor, because I can only do that when I take an explore action and not a land action, but I'm also potentially preventing him from doing anything. Some of these islands only have 1 place, and I don't want him to take them away. Yep, okay, done. I'm placing his last boat out here, so he doesn't score on it. We trigger endgame scoring. Anywhere that orange is the same as something else, I score 6 points. Means this island orange is the same as pink. That's 6 points. So 5 plus 1. Then down here, no. Over here, orange is the same as green. So I score 6 points there again. Changing that 5 into a 10 and taking another 1. Like that. Here, orange is the same as pink. Scores me another 6 points. 5 and 1 again. And then finally here, orange and pink is the same, placing my last house there. Scoring another 6, so trading in my 10 and my 5 for a 20. And one more 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. 24 for me, and that's the end of me, but we'll do final scoring in a second. Let's let him place his houses. Anywhere with 2 leaves again. What's left that he hasn't scored? This does not have 2 leaves. This does not have 2 leaves. This one down here does. He's already placed here. There's nothing to place there. That's it. That's great. So my score then is 20. 6, 6, and 6 is 18. That's 38. And 5 is 43. 44, 45, 46, 47. And then around my ship, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, which gives me a total of 58 if I counted correct, but let's do one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 20, 40, and 18 is 58 points for me. And I think we're going to lose by a very small amount, and that's going to hurt me because he scores 55 plus 1 per house. So 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, and then anchors around his boats. Nothing, nothing, 1, 2, 3. He beats me 63 to 58. That's a super close score. But again, he is level 5 out of 6 levels, so I don't feel so bad. That is the end of the game. Super close loss. Now, while I'm down here, I do like to take a look at components. You've seen the components here out on the board. Everything here looks great to me. I really love, I'm a fan of tile laying games in general, but I love the way that these islands all look. It's very easy to see the 3 different icons on everything without the board looking boring. There's still lots of seagulls, there's lots of sort of topological features to the islands, and it doesn't get too sort of confusing, too mixed up. Like these could, like, for example, these boats over here and this squid over here, this whirlpool over here. There's lots of fun stuff going on that doesn't sort of confuse you when you're looking for the things you're looking for. Everything very easy to see, very easy to understand. The point scores being different kinds of like gems or things that I'm collecting along the way is pretty cool. The fact that these discovery tokens are all kind of different items that I'm collecting along the way that score things. Didn't have to be there, it could just be numbers, but it pulls you in a little bit more to the theme, which is great. Iconography and everything works real well. The AI's cards are very easy to understand. The quality, the thickness of the tiles and these tokens are very nice. The cards are not linen finish, they are glossy finish, but they're nice cards. The thickness of them is pretty good. Now, granted, these are mini cards, which I never love, but the point of that is, as I showed you before, that 2 of those mini cards becomes one of these cards. So it makes sense to me, and if the card size really mattered, I could just play with the regular cards rather than these split cards, but the split stuff does add quite a bit more variability. Then the only other real component in the game are the wooden pieces. I want to show you all 4 of them. The colors in the game are red, yellow, white, and purple. It's a very interesting combination of colors, but I want to show you this because they've done something that's cool and completely unnecessary. Each of the 4 colors has a different shaped house. Now, granted, I guess with color blindness that would help a little bit, but realistically, the colors themselves should be mostly good enough to tell the difference between them. So the fact that they're different shapes is pretty cool, and it just makes, you know, the theme and the world more alive and more interesting. So I applaud them for making the huts slightly different shaped, both for color blindness friendliness as well as just to make things look cooler. The other thing I do like to take a look at when I talk about components is the insert for the game. This is a cardboard insert, but I love it because it's fully printed everywhere. So it looks like this sort of boardwalk area along the water, along the shore. It is nice heavy-duty cardboard. The tiles all slot into this pretty much perfectly. So this fills up about 3/4 with tiles. And then there's a space in here. I just stick a baggie of one of the components. Everything else here goes baggied and thrown in here like that. Really, really good design. And like I said, there is a bit of a space here. So at some point, if they did design more tiles or some kind of expansion, there's a little bit more space for it in the box. One more thing, I don't want to spoil anything, but I will show you the back of the rule book because this game also has something called the Great Explorer deck. It says, hidden inside the heart of small islands, look carefully. There are 2 stacks of Great Explorer cards. I'm not going to say where they are or where they come from or how you find them, but it's really interesting because both normal mode and advanced mode have a series of achievements that you can sort of aim to unlock. And if you ever win a game and match at least 5 of these achievements, or over time, not all in one game, but once you've played enough times that during wins you've unlocked at least 5 of these, you get the cards for the normal mode, and if you've unlocked at least 5 of these, you'll get the card for the advanced mode. Really cool that something's hidden in the islands. Really cool that there's these achievements that unlock something in the game. Yeah, I am very happy with the componentry of this game. Now meet me back up top and I'll let you know what I think about the gameplay itself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the playthrough. I apologize again for that one turn where I forgot to draw the tile, but hopefully it didn't change things too much from where they would have ended up anyway, and it still gives you hopefully a good idea of how the game plays out, how the scoring works, and so on. With that said, let's talk about how I feel about this game. I tend to be a fan of these kind of map creation, tile laying style games. I've been a big fan of Carcassonne for a very long time. Carcassonne is one that my family plays a whole lot. So I'm always interested to see when somebody creates a new game in that sort of style, to see how things are twisted up. And also very often those tile laying games don't have a solo mode because they are a very competitive focused kind of game. So I'm always interested to see how solo modes play out in these kinds of games as well. And I have to say that I really, really enjoy what I'm seeing here. First off, the comparisons to Carcassonne in this one are pretty strong in that every turn you're sort of taking a tile and placing a tile out into an ever-growing map of tiles, making sure that the way that they're placed fits in, sort of edge-to-edge matching with tiles as they're placed out. And then later on you can choose to place something of your own in that area to score. But beyond that, there's a lot of new twists and sort of changes to that sort of common formula in this game. And the first one is this idea of sort of rounds. Whereas you're playing a bunch of tiles out and then the sort of round ends and scoring for that round occurs based on what you've done so far and based on the scoring sort of conditions that you've set up for yourself for that round. And then it repeats again, and then it repeats again, and then finally, if you haven't cleared all of the tiles by the end, then it will repeat a fourth time. And the trigger for the end of these rounds, I'll talk about the scoring in just a second, this trigger for the end of these rounds is an additional sort of mechanism to the game, and that is placing out your ship tile into this growing map of tiles. And that ship tile is also being placed in order to score, but the ship tile itself doesn't score until the end of the game. So this throws in an additional sort of level of timing and sort of future planning while sort of working on round by round kind of tactical planning as well. Because you want to sort of hold on to place your ship until there's a location that's going to be sort of a seed or a starting point for potential long end game scoring with lots of anchors around it. And then also once you've placed your ship, you then want to go longer, or at least focus on that area as you progress, placing more anchors around it to score at the end of the game. And this timing is interesting because if you wait too long to place a ship out at a location where there are anchors, that location might then get a different ship placed in its place, and then you don't get to score those anchors. So you kind of want to put your ship out as early as possible, but into a location that you are pretty confident you can surround with as many anchors as possible. And that sort of happens at the end of the game, but as I mentioned, there are these sort of round breaks in between. And what's interesting here is the way that this game works is at the beginning of every round, you're drawing cards that are setting up sort of the missions that you need to accomplish or the kinds of islands that you need to build in order to even trigger a scoring of that island. But then also the scoring condition of how you're going to score the island that meets the condition of that mission. And in the sort of standard game, that's combined into a single card, and you're just going to choose which of those cards you want. But in this more advanced version that I played through in this playthrough, you're going to be sort of getting that split into two pieces. So you can freely combine that mission goal and that reward scoring goal together in ways that you want to that best match the islands that you've either made before or that you can kind of see you're going to be able to be making moving forward into the next round. And that's really cool, but on top of that, you are starting with one set of cards, or one card in the case of a normal mode, and then you're drawing two more of each of those sets or of that combined card. And from those, you're choosing the one that you're going to use for that round, but also you're allowed to choose one for the future round. But then when you get to the future round, that one just becomes one of the three that you get to choose that round. So you have the ability to hold something knowing that you could be working towards that condition, but then in the next round, if you get a different card that seems to match better than the one that you're holding, you have the flexibility or the freedom to switch to that new scoring goal, which really makes things interesting because it combines the sort of tactical turn-by-turn decisions of a single round with this ability to sort of plan ahead long term, because if I know I have a scoring goal that could score later, while I'm building out the things I'm scoring on now, I might start expanding a huge island with lots of stuff on it, such that if I can get a scoring condition that matches that island, I can score a ton of points off of one island. Because that's the other thing you need to pay attention to in this game, is that you have 8 clan houses to place out. And at the end of any given round, based on the mission goal that you have for that round, you can choose islands that match that condition to place a house on and score that island. And then how that island scores is based on the other half of the card or the other card in the advanced mode. And that's going to be different than what that mission is that allows you to even have the ability to score that island. But then in order to score the island, you got to place out one of your clan houses on it. And each island can only ever have one of each color's clan house. So I can't score one thing on the island and then later come back and score another thing on an island. So I really have to pay attention to maximizing the efficiency or maximizing the amount of points I score per island, but also make sure that I'm making enough islands that I can use all of my houses. Because if I'm focused on one giant thing, then in later turns, there aren't that many islands to build off of because I've put all of the tiles into this giant landmass. And the giant landmass really isn't going to score you anything special differently than another island so long as it matches the mission conditions. And those mission conditions don't often have a lot of stuff It's just the different kinds of variety of stuff that you're aiming for. So there's this very interesting balance of how do I make a map that matches that things fit together? How do I get islands that are big enough and contain enough scoring stuff in them while also building new islands so that I can continue to doing that future rounds moving on? How and when do I place out my ship to make sure it's got some anchors, and then how do I continue sort of nurturing that, building more anchors around that ship moving forward into the rounds? And all of this together works very nicely, and it makes for a very interesting puzzle that's not just Carcassonne, the same thing, repeat, 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 end game. Because each round is quite a bit different, and there is this combination of this short-term round-by-round thinking, as well as this long-term goal planning and ship scoring thing at the end of the game. And I really do enjoy the way it all fits together. And there are a couple more things that add on to it. Number one is the AI. I am reviewing the solo mode, so let's talk about the AI. The AI here is interesting because the AI is potentially taking tiles that you could use. The AI is potentially placing tiles in a way that's going to mess up things that you're hoping to be doing later on. And the AI is also potentially a timer, because if the AI chooses to place a ship before you're ready to place your ship, that ends the round, and potentially then the AI could take a location for a clan house that you were hoping to take before you get a chance to do so. But the AI is also scoring. This is not a beat your own score. You're trying to beat the AI. And what's even more interesting or more exciting here is that they could very well have just done, here's the AI, and then the difficulty thresholds are different point values that the AI starts with, or a different amount of points that they score for their clan houses that they place out. And to some extent they did that, but that's not where it ends. There are 6 different levels of AI here. They all start with different amounts of this is the amount of points the AI is going to score. And they all score some kind of points based on the clan houses they're placing out. But then things are twisted up in a couple of different ways. And the first way is the amount of sort of exploration cards versus the amount of land cards that get shuffled into the AI's deck. Because if they have a lot of exploration cards and few land cards, then you can expect that the rounds are going to go fairly long before the AI pulls a ship. So you know you have extra time, potentially, because it could randomly be that one ship comes out early. Potentially you have longer time to get out more tiles to score more points on a given island before the end of the round is triggered. But it also gives the ability that if I know that it has this many land cards in that deck, and those land cards have all come out before the ship is flipped, means before that navigation tile is uncovered, then I know the AI is going to go through their entire deck before they have even the opportunity to place out a ship. And then I know I've got a ton of ability to grow things out, which is an interesting dynamic that does stretch and change the length of the AI's game. And tied with that is the way that the AI scores. Because as I mentioned, they're all going to score some kind of core score plus points for their houses, their clan houses. And some of these cards, like I showed you on the level 3, I believe, the level 3 has a ton of explore cards and maybe only 1, maybe 2 land cards. But they're scoring a ton of points for clan houses. So they're really pushing you to stretch as long as you can to make these giant islands to score lots of points so that your houses are more meaningful than the houses that the AI is putting out. But then again, the level 4 AI is actually getting negative points for their clan houses. But they have a ton of land cards and not so many explore cards, which means the AI is going to be rushing to end every round as quickly as possible. But they're trying not to place things out on islands. So if I can make a ton of islands that meet all kinds of possible conditions, because I don't know what the AI's condition is going to be at the end of any given round as to where they place their houses out. But if I can have a ton of small islands that I'm scoring points on all of those islands and the AI is placing out tons of little houses, then at the end of the game, they're going to get a ton of negative points. I'm doing pretty well with all of these different islands that I'm scoring, and then maybe I'll do better than that AI. So the difference in each of the AI based on a very similar card system with just some small tweaks really does make the AI feel quite a bit different every time you play, depending on the difficulty level. But also, I didn't really talk about this, but I should. The other important thing, the other very nice thing about this AI system is the way that it plays. Having this explore versus land cards gives me some idea about when they're going to do what, how they're going to do what. But then also, every round the AI is going to randomly be drafting one of the 3 available tiles. But the way that they place them out is always in relation to where I just placed my tile. So I can think about, where am I okay with the AI expanding to? Where would I prefer the AI not be able to place a tile? And how can I sort of help myself while also preventing the AI from doing things as I lay my tile? So when I place this, it's going to be in one of the 4 directions. If it goes here, what happens? If it goes here, what happens? If it goes all the way to the end of the row, what happens? And I can definitely sort of make some predictions about what the AI is going to do and how it's going to impact my decision and sort of the results of my own gameplay. And I think that's really important for an AI to be somewhat predictable, or at least somewhat manipulatable, if that's a word, to sort of help or hinder your own gameplay. And it works really well here. So I'm really enjoying the core mechanisms. I definitely enjoy the way the AI works. And then there's one small twist. I showed you at the end of the components, the back of the rulebook. There's some hidden content in this box. I say hidden because the rulebook says it's there and it's hidden. You're going to have to find it, but it's not that hard to find. But the important thing, the more interesting thing is, in order to have the ability to play with this hidden content, which already gives you some extra variability in how the game is going to score and the different kinds of goals and the different kinds of islands you're trying to make, it also gives you a list of achievements that you need to sort of achieve to finish in order to unlock this extra content. And what that means is now, outside of the mechanisms of the game, there are sort of goals or things that you're trying to achieve that you wouldn't necessarily be wanting to do in-game because it doesn't really help too much in-game. But things like having an island that's 13 tiles or more. It's achievement. It's a cool goal to have on top of the already included sort of scoring goals in the game. So adding all of these different things, scoring more than 12 points from anchors around your ship at the end of the game, having a bunch of different small islands, and so on, really does make the game that extra level of fun, because now every time I'm trying to play this game, I'm trying to defeat the AI, but also I'm trying to accomplish some kind of unique thing that forces me to play the game in some kind of uniquely different way than I did the previous times, so that ultimately I can unlock more content, which then also gets me the chance to do more interesting things, because the mission goals and the rewards that I'm getting from them, the way I score, is also going to change up in future plays. So there's a whole lot of content, there's a whole lot of variability to be had in this small box. I'm a fan of tile layers. I like the twists and the changes that this one is offering. Definitely, if you're a fan of games like Carcassonne, where you are building out a big map using tiles and scoring based on the things you're creating, I would definitely recommend this one to you. It's one that I haven't really heard that much about, so I'm happy to be able to share this with all of you. As always, I hope that this video was helpful to you, and if it was, I do ask as always that you like, subscribe, and click the bell icon below, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks.